goes through the roof, as it may be at some point in time. The insurance companies don't bear the cost of that in a vacuum, Mikey. That is passed down to the consumer in the form of an increase in premium. Because the more claims you have, the more you pay out, the less profitable the plan is. So it's not attractive for the insurance companies to enter into these plans. So what you have is a commensurate increase in the premium. Which, by the way, the government pays, and the public servant pays part of it. So inevitably the taxpayer pays twice.
Which is totally unfair. And again, I mean, you have to feel it for the senior citizens, especially who are already on a fixed income and simply trying their best to keep their head above water, now having to be at the mercy of a system that seems to have just bolted out of the stable, and we're trying to play catch up. I mean, and this is bad. This is totally bad.
There has to be a level of transparency and fairness in this process, Mikey. That's all I am clamoring for. I don't intend to cast any aspersion on anyone or the minister or any politician or anything like that. What I'm clamoring for is a measure of transparency and fairness in the process, and ultimately it benefits the consumer. The consumer is that most vulnerable sector of society, the old and the infirm.
And I echo those sentiments. I really hope that, and I'm good to know that you're championing this cause, because really and truly, when you talk to some of the people who have to rely on these pharmaceutical products, and they tell you, listen, all of my pay, all of the little money that I have to make sure that I have to keep my health, sustain something, and I mean, they're trying their best. Now, before you go, I want to also touch on the fact that you said something that really and truly stood out with many of us here in this country. And you said that electronic bracelets, I'm just shifting gears a bit to crime, electronic bracelets is the simplest solution to reduce crime. And now this coming from an attorney, I'll tell you something. Many of us in society have this perception that when it comes to the whole justice system, lawyers will never talk about implementing something that will put a dent in crime, because we believe it's a cycle that puts money in people's pocket. Look, I've committed a crime, I'm on bail, I have to get money to pay my lawyer, I'm going to commit another crime. But you stood out here and you made it quite clear that if you want to see almost an overnight drop in crime, is to put electronic monitoring bracelets on all those charged with an offense and on bail. I mean, as simplistic as it is, why is it still a challenge for the administration?
I don't know, but what I also suggested, Mikey, is every prisoner who is released from prison having the benefit of the 1/3 reduction should be made to wear that electronic bracelet during the period of that 1/3 reduction. Because the statistics show a lot of violent crime, and a lot of crime is committed by persons who are on bail whilst awaiting trial for other offenses. Okay, so first of all, and that was the reason why successive governments have gone to the parliament to restrict the right to bail. The notorious Bail Acts, we all know that, and the Sunset Clause and the political brouhaha that emanated from that. Okay, so the assumption is a valid assumption. But there's also another statistical assumption, that persons who are released from prison are more likely to reoffend within 6 months of being released from prison.
Yeah.
So if you monitor those prisoners for the rest of their 1/3 reduction as well, so you plug the hole at the bail stage, you plug the hole at the release stage. I am willing to take a safe bet that no one who is wearing an electronic ankle monitoring bracelet will go out and commit any crime whilst wearing that bracelet. You have to be either brave, supremely brave, or supremely stupid to do that.
And I think, again, so simplistic, but yet still, it doesn't seem to resonate with those in authority to implement. I mean, we are talking about over 600 murders, and we still have a few days ago before we usher in a brand new year. So, unfortunately, we may cross that 600 mark. And what we're going to look forward to next year. When you look at all of these things taking place, and you said that society cannot be fixed if people are walking around undetected, so police must be equipped. And of course, there are those who are going to chime in and say, well, you know, the fact that Big Brother is watching and it's an invasion of privacy, an invasion of rights, and all of these things.
Well, let me put that invasion of privacy down to rest. If you commit a crime, your conditions of bail, you are released on condition by the court, so you're under the supervision of the court. Okay, Mikey, that's what bail is. You are given permission by the court to be released, but the court has the power to impose conditions on that release. So your right to privacy in that sense is subject to the supervisory jurisdiction of the court. So there's no absolute right to privacy, and I said so in the program when I spoke. Yes, we all have rights, but no right is absolute. All rights are qualified rights and subject to reasonable inclusion.
Yeah. Again, so simple, it makes sense. You said that no one wakes up and commits a series of murders for the first time in his life.
No. We all know that there are gradations in crime. People start off at very small levels and then they graduate. So what you do by putting the electronic monitoring bracelets and you monitor these people, you disrupt the gangs. Yeah. You monitor their whereabouts, you monitor their movement, they have to report in, and if they breach the conditions of their bail, the bail is revoked. They go back to prison. It's as simple as that. These are drastic times, Mikey. We can't hide behind the fig leaf of a civilized society and pretend, well, we have absolute rights. No, these are drastic times, and drastic times call for drastic measures.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Again, so simple, but yet still so challenging, and it makes you wonder if those in authority even have the will to even make this a priority. 600 murders. I mean,
that's essentially a policy decision, you know, Mikey. The legislation is there, and it's essentially a policy decision. Yeah. So you have to have the will to implement a policy decision.
Yeah, but you have the numbers, which is 600 plus murders. I mean, yes. How much of that? How much more would you need to motivate you, to engineer you, to be driven, to say, listen, let's do something, let's do anything. The fact that we can actually identify the movement of people who are most likely to commit crimes. And again, so simple as it is, why is it that such a policy cannot be implemented and best of all, benefit the citizens of this country?
I don't have the answer to that. I'm not a policy maker.
And these are the things that we ask on a daily basis, Mr. Singh. I think we are now to the point, I keep saying that the morning we wake up and hear that there have been no murders, then we're shocked. But when we hear 2 and 3, we say, how come not 5 or 6? These things are so simple, and it doesn't require you having a party card or being affiliated with some political organization. It has to do with what is best for the citizens of this country. That you can identify troublemakers, you can monitor them, you can get to them, rehabilitate them, and let them out again, and of course be a part of a productive society.
Mikey, this is not a political issue so much as a collective socio-economic issue for the collective society to make a decision on, you know. You have to make a decision as a society. What do you want? Do you want to take a decision? Do you want policymakers who will bite the bullet, so to speak, and take the hard decisions? And that's the question that stares the public in the eye.
Yeah, you're right.
Essentially, it's a question of finding the right set of policymakers.
Yeah. I want to thank you so much again for joining. Any closing comments? Go right ahead.
No, not really. I think I've spoken too much already on this issue. But it's an issue that I feel very strongly about, and I think it's a simple solution, but I think it can be a very effective solution.
I agree with you 100%. Again, I want to thank you so much for taking time out to give us an insightful perspective. Keep up the good work. Continue championing these great causes for the benefit of the people of this country. And again, I wish you all the best for the coming year, and we will be speaking periodically.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, folks, it makes you wonder. I mean, you have these discussions, you have these narratives, and simple things, low-hanging fruits, things that could have been done. Can you imagine? I mean, we still have a few days to go before we usher a brand new year. We have crossed the 600 mark, and when we come back, we'll be speaking to the president of the Fire Service Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Another issue, and I'm sure many of you would like to know what's going on. We'll be right back.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees, in my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Omega XL saved my life.
Then I started to realize, well, hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Structural Maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now, 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
This season, whatever job needs to be done for your home or business, you can rely on Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable, and innovative products. Available at ProVar Distributors Limited. We carry a wide range of Husqvarna equipment, power cutters, diamond saw blades, handheld blowers, trimmers and brush cutters, chainsaws, backpack blowers, water pumps, lawnmowers. ProVar Distributors Limited at 233-9438 to find a dealer near you. This Christmas, take advantage of all the top quality hardware supplies at the lowest prices only at Midland Hardware, number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Supreme Emulsion Paint, only $70.50. Water tanks from $841. Thinset from $48. Single kitchen faucets from $71. Face basin taps from $31. $45. Entrance locks and deadbolts $50 and up. Savings on toilet sets, face basins, and all concrete blocks. We also stockpile sand and gravel. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or give us a call at 646-2144. Open Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all.
What's working?
Check Ryanair. Ryanair is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Cane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryanair.
And we are back, folks, and don't forget Probiotic XL. That's Probiotic XL combines 3 innovative strategies to restore balance to your digestive system. Probiotic XL contains 11 important probiotic strains, protective shield technology, and clearphage that altogether make it one of the best probiotics on the market. So pick up your bottle of Probiotic XL today and, of course, get that supporting growth of good bacteria and neutralizing harmful ones. Of course, here on The Observer, we want to send condolences to the family of the minister in the Ministry of Education, Lisa Morris Julian, loved ones, and everyone in the Arima, her community. But there's a lot to discuss, and joining me now is the president of the Fire Service Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Let me say a pleasant good evening to Mr. Keon Guy. Pleasant good evening to you, comrade.
Oh, pleasant good evening, Mikey G, and thank you for having me on again.
Always a pleasure. A lot has been said, and there's a lot of press releases back and forth, but this evening, of course, the one that was sent out by your association made it quite clear that tragedy will unfortunately strike again. I mean, many of us were like, please, that's the last thing we need to know. But again, we've had you on here before and sympathize with the fact that the working conditions, the lack of resources, the lack of equipment, even protective gear, and it seems as though a lot of the blame game is taking place even before we can have some sort of final report on the incident and what transpired. People already pointing fingers at us. Was there enough water? Was there a fire tender available? Why was it in close proximity? How come it took them this long? If you can clear the air for us, and again, I don't want to infringe on the investigation, but again, those challenges, and why would you, of course, make it clear that unfortunate tragedy will unfortunately strike again? Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mikey. Well, first of all, we want to extend our heartfelt condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones of those who've been affected by this tragedy, this tragic incident that occurred yesterday's morning. Our thoughts and prayers remain with those loved and those who are grieving with this tremendous loss. Now you cited there, Mikey, that the blame game has started already. And of course the blame game has started, and it started simply because the Fire Service Association has, for the past, I will say, decade, been doing its part to raise the alarm that some special attention must be given to the needs of the fire service. And we have done so from time to time and in various means. We have taken time to write stakeholders at the Ministry of National Security and the Minister of National Security, who is our line minister. We would have met with several chief officers and permanent secretaries during that time. And I must say, unfortunately, we find ourselves where we are this afternoon, where we are once again trying to grasp and understand exactly what transpired and led to the deaths of these three wonderful persons. It was very troubling news for me and my executive, I must say. And it's a burden that all fire officers carry, especially those who responded to the emergency that morning, because there they were, responding to a fire, knowing fairly well that they were under-equipped and undermanned, yet still proceeding and attempting to see whether or not they'd be able to save a life. It is quite unfortunate that we had the loss of 3 lives yesterday morning, and that we have some other members of the family. I believe is the spouse of the late minister, probably fighting for his life.
Yeah,
and we want to wish him well as well. But again, it continues. This incident continues to occur. It's not the first of its kind, so we had to send again that it's likely to happen if immediate action is not taken to resolve our ongoing issues.
Yeah. What stands out here is that in your press release, it says that it is imperative to acknowledge that the Arima Fire Station's tender number 554 water tanker, vehicle registration number TCL 9610, registered in 2009, was engaged elsewhere at the time of the incident, leaving the first response to be the officers assigned to the Tunapuna Fire Station, which is located some 15 kilometers away from the incident. The crew from the Tunapuna Fire Station had use of number 478 water tanker, registered in 2006 and assigned the registration number TBR 6061. The average age of these two vehicles can be reasonably estimated to be at least 18 years, which makes these vehicles costly to maintain and, of course, difficult when it comes to dealing with frequent breakdowns. Ezekiel, Faith, and Keaton Burke in Rookery Nook in Maraval. And there was this Malcolm Diaz, the senior citizen in Santa Cruz. And one would think that all of these things did not happen in vain, that these people just simply did not lose their lives, and things were not then dealt with differently to make sure that the resources were there. When you're talking about a budget that was allocated in 2024 to 2025 from 11.5 million to 4 million, it was slashed by more than half. The question has to be then, how do they expect fire officers to go out there, do the job of saving the lives of citizens? How?
And I would say it's not for lack of recognition of the problem. I think the government is fully aware of what the challenges are with fire service. For them, however, it doesn't seem to be a priority. And I'm saying seem. You reference the figures that we put out for the draft estimates and the releases that we got for the fire service for the 2023 and 2024 periods. In 2023, actual expenditure for appliances and purchasing of equipment and vehicles, I believe, was estimated at close to $1 million. The government then properly saw the need for additional appliances on the heels of these strategies that I mentioned there before, and then estimated $11.2 million, or had allocated in their draft estimates $11.2 million towards the purchase of new vehicles. Without much explanation, that figure was revised to $1 million in that year, 2024. This fiscal that we are now into here, the government has, as you mentioned, allocated $4 million. And we included this in the release too. For context, an appliance cost $4.5 million. So to release or to approve our appropriate $4 million means that the fire service will be unable to really purchase much appliances during this fiscal. So the reason we are saying that tragedy will unfortunately strike again is because the time it will take to purchase, to procure, order, and have these vehicles here and ready for operational use is in excess of a year and a half. So if the government is not making investment today, it means that for the next year and a half, towards the next 2 years, incidents like these are likely to occur. As I sit here tonight, I have to unfortunately report to the citizens of this country that the majority of the fire stations, again, within the Northern Division, are without appliances. And the Northern Division is the division that stretches from Chaguaramas to Sangre Grande. And in that division, we have 11 fire stations. Presently tonight, without appliances, we have the Chaguaramas, Woodbrook, Belmont, Mova, Santa Cruz, and the Sangre Grande fire station. Now, the Sangre Grande fire station is a particular case because the appliance was involved in an accident yesterday. But these other stations that I have called have been without vehicles for an extended period of time. It's almost the norm. So this has been accepted. Service. It has been accepted by our Minister of National Security, and I must say it has been accepted by the Cabinet. Because after each of these deaths, and after each death was reported in the media, comments were made by some government ministers. Some government ministers were, again, when the Burke family lost their life, they were seen crying and sending out tweets and stuff. They were aware, but that didn't turn into action. So we concluded our statement by saying, this cannot be done here. We cannot allow this to reoccur. we are asking Cabinet, we are asking Government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to reconsider their approach to the investment in fire protections within Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, but
We are suggesting,
Mr. Guy, why should officers, why should your association be begging for something that you have a right to? I mean, you have a right to have protective gear. You have a right to be able to, have a fire tender so you can respond to save lives. When you're in training, that's what they're training you to do, to go out there and save lives. When you sign on, that's what you signed on for, to respond. That's what you aspire to be, as a fire officer, as a first responder, to get out there and save lives. Now, what is what is the thinking like among officers? Is the morale at an all-time low?
of course it is. Morale is at an all-time low, and it has been there for an extended period. While the officers remain dedicated, while they continue to report for duty, and again respond to these emergencies in the hope of saving a life, you are reminded after every incident like this, and not all these incidents are reported in the media, but you're reminded after every commercial fire, after every structural fire, after every road traffic accident, after every rescue, after every emergency medical response, officers are reminded of how under-equipped they are and unable to meet the demands of a growing and developing society. Take, for instance, the Arima Fire Station or the Arima area, which is served by one appliance and one fire station. When we consider the geographical size, population density, response time standards, the specific risk involved in Arima, we have highways, we have the bus route, we have manufacturing, we have an industrial estate. Arima should be served by multiple fire stations and multiple appliances.
I agree. I mean, you
But
have...
that has not been done, and that doesn't seem to be part of the consideration. So when we sent out our release or response to the government's 2024-2025 budget, we called for the government, as it pertains to vehicles, or we recommended rather, that the government develop a defined strategy to outfit all existing fire stations with the requisite equipment necessary to maintain its operational readiness. This was a recommendation we made, and unfortunately then, it seemed to have fallen on deaf ears, but we are hopeful, we are optimistic that we may begin to see a turnaround.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen it in quite some time. I mean, you're dealing with fire tenders that are 18 years. I mean, look how they're old. And the Minister of National Security, in your release, you said the Minister of National Security has previously stated that there are no outstanding massive requests from the TTFS for equipment or resources. However, the reality on the ground starkly contradicts this assertion. The TTFS is on the brink of collapse, with many stations lacking suitable trucks and essential personal protective equipment, despite his repeated claims otherwise. I hope that tragedy, unfortunately, will not strike again. And that may be wishful thinking, because your requests, your demands, what's rightfully supposed to be given to you, seems to be falling on deaf ears. Where do we go from here, Mr. Guy?
Where do we go from here? We can't afford for another tragedy like this to occur. Another tragedy like what occurred in the Rookery Nook incident.
Yeah.
We can't have citizens who are the most vulnerable, which is the children, elderly, and women, continue to die in fires at this rate. We can't continue having hundreds of families displaced by fires annually. Hundreds displaced by fires.
Yeah.
That is what that is what Trinidad and Tobago is undergoing at the moment, right?
And you know that's fine for you and myself to make that comment, but the powers that be will have to come to that realization and say, listen, we cannot have this repeated, and we cannot have it going on the way it is. Any closing comments? Go ahead.
Closing comments is that I would like to firstly again extend condolences to the family, and I would say to the officers as well who responded on their behalf that they performed to the extent to which the resources that were available to them would have allowed them to extinguish that fire. It was an absolute tragedy, but if not for their involvement, obviously it could have been a lot worse. So we are working on the resource, we are on demand, but officers remain committed to their duty. And again, we need the support of those who have campaigned to lead us. We need their support. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guy. Comrade, best of luck to you, and we stand in solidarity with you and your members.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, folks, the lines are open. We're going to come right back after this break. The lines are open. We're going to have some little extra time to take your calls this evening because and just to share with you that there's a memorial service which is happening this Thursday at Balize House at 4:30 p.m. for Miss Lisa Morris Julian and her relatives that perished in that fire, and they're asking you to wear white. So those of you who are interested, to share that information with you. And one would think that, all right, so you had the incident in Maraval. I mean, that's in the release. You have the incident that took place in Santa Cruz with the senior citizen that was visually impaired. You had so many things happening in Woodbrook and what have you. And now, rather than pointing fingers and playing the blame game, there should have been an emergency meeting by the government, with the authorities, and say, listen, what's going on with the fire service department? Are they getting what they need to have in order to respond when it comes to saving lives and what have you? But no, you're not hearing that. And we understand this is a time of grief, and we respect that. But it's also a time for questions that need to be answered. Because when you have an association that represents individuals whose job it is to respond to an emergency, to come out there and assist you, and they sent out a press release saying tragedy will unfortunately strike again because of such and such and such, then something is definitely wrong. Can you protect the citizens of this country? If something happens, is it every man for himself? Do your best. See how best you can secure your home, your family, your loved ones. See how best, if anything happens, God forbid, that you're in a position that you can save your lives. We'll be right back.
This Christmas, take advantage of all the top quality hardware supplies at the lowest prices only at Midland Hardware, number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Supreme Emulsion Paint, only $70.50. Water tanks from $841. Thin set from $48. Single kitchen faucets from $71. Face basin taps, flush doors, all sizes, $245. Entrance locks and deadbolts, $50 and up. Savings on toilet sets, face basins, and all concrete blocks. We also stockpile sand and gravel. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or give us a call at 646-2144. Open Sunday to Sunday from 8 a.m. to be done for your home or business, you can rely on Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable, and innovative products. Available at ProVar Distributors Limited. We carry a wide range of Husqvarna equipment, power cutters, diamond saw blades, handheld blowers, trimmers and brush cutters, chainsaws, backpack blowers, water pumps, lawnmowers, lubricants, and all accessories. Full after sales and 9438 to find a dealer near you.
Limiting chronic inflammation is important for so many conditions that occur.
I had a lot of pain 4 years ago.
I used to have pain in my knees and my hip.
Taking it for arthritis.
Omega XL saved my life.
Then I started to realize, well, hey, I could use my hands, I don't have any pain.
All in all, I am pleased to say that the Omega XL has worked.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now, 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss. And we're back. The lines are open. We have someone already. Yes, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening to you, Mikey. What's going on here? Where's that?
Well, a lot is going on. A lot is going on. We heard from the Fire Service Association of Trinidad and Tobago. We heard from Attorney at Law, Mr. Jagdeo Singh, and of course, the Fire Association President, Mr. Guy, say that there's a lot of blame games going on, pointing of fingers, but in fact, they do not have the resources and they do not have what is required for them to have in order to go out there and respond to these fires. What say you?
Mikey, well, first thing I want to say, Mikey, listening today to the Honorable Prime Minister giving a speech, he said that he get the news around about 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock in the morning. And he said that he stay up. But when he got the news, like he was in shock. But he said he just stayed there and he went and sleep about 10 o'clock. And you see, we woke up about 12 o'clock so. And when we woke up about 12 o'clock, he was covered in tears. He was covered in tears. So I was like, what kind of mathematics this is? It is not adding up. Because if you are saying that you get the news 7 o'clock, to me, he just said that he was in shock. So he went and sleep about 10 o'clock. He woke up and he said that he never know that he was dying, but he was covered in tears when he wake up. So he like water was all in his eye running down. So Dr. Rowdy, like, and he say, I've been through this already. I've been through this already with Marshall and Franklin Khan. But it clicked me a bell. I said, what? Manning? He mentioned of it, Manning too. Why he mentioned Manning name? Especially a former leader of the PNM. And I look at Valley was also his friend. What he say? He tell them that he tell us, I've been through this already. I've been through this already. But he say he didn't prepare for this one at all. So to me, it says something, it tells something, and I will always say Dr. Rowdy is a joke. Because I am not going to blame no farming. I am not going to say that the farmer was lacking of water. I'm going to say that we system need to fix. Our constitution need to fix. We need to get rid of these old running pipes way on the ground built since 1962. These pipes are on the ground. We need better pipeline, better pressure. We need easier access that the farmer can have a helicopter where they could go and show water over in the power. So it's just that can I just blame the fire? I say that because if the fire service asks for something, they have to go through one set of paperwork to get what they want, and that would take months. So we have to change that kind of system, and that's what constitution for.
I agree with you. A lot of bureaucracy. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hey, the lines are open. If you want to make a WhatsApp call, 494-0938, or you can call 225-9790. I also found it interesting what Attorney Jack Deo Singh was saying, and he said that electronic bracelets is simplest solution to reduce crime, and he said that we are going to see it happen in a very short period of time. He said almost overnight, drop in crime is to put an electronic monitoring bracelet on all those charged with an offense and on bail. Then why are we still at the mercy of these criminals? Why is it that we are still dealing with home invasions? I mean, this monitoring would know quite well that if you're living in a certain area, that you're out of your vicinity, and that in itself will create a red flag, or something is going to go up. You can't be finding yourself jumping through somebody's window, as the case may be, or whatever. So why are these things not being implemented? And that's the thing about it. We have someone here. Yeah, good. Go ahead.
Good night, Mikey K.
Hi.
Mikey K, why this thing is a tragedy? What happened to Miss Morris? This thing been happening for years with the incompetence and the pointing fingers and all these other things. And this government has never taken responsibility for those things. They've they've not given these resources to these fire services, the police services, the Coast Guard. They have all of these agencies wanting for different things that they can't get it. I mean, the fire service has been stretched. You have a population that is growing, and you can't have two fire appliances in two places, and you have fires taking place in all different areas of the country. You have to resource with more fire trucks and personnel, but they've not been doing that. We've seen $500,000 US being paid to lawyers, and apparently that is more important for this PNM government than anything else. That $3 billion. Think of what that can do for the country if that was invested in the resources and the resources in different areas in this country. Yeah? And look, Brian Big, he lost his hand this weekend there. Yeah. And nobody crying over that. Like business as usual. Over 600 something murders already. I mean, if it's 608 right now. Yeah? And business as usual, Fitzgerald Hines and Archbishop Tildum, them incompetent, causing all this foolishness to take place. And the learned lawyer there correct in what he's saying, because I mean these fellas that make bail, you can't blame the lawyers. These lawyers are hired to defend the client, and if they can get them out, they can get them out, because the BTN system is a system they're playing against there. So if they can put the bracelets on these fellas, it will stop some of these criminal acts, because you're seeing with these fellas as repeat offenders. But like I always say, I believe in surgically removing people's fingers and hands. You understand? To deal with them in that way, no, they would never pick back on again.
All right, thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. No, but if it wasn't so sad, you would have to laugh. I mean, it would have to be a joke if it wasn't so sad, because here it is, you have the Minister of Public Utilities putting out a press release, Marvin Gonzalez. He wishes to address and strongly refute the recent assertion of a lack of water in the area made by the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services. And then here it is, you have the Fire Association having to reply. I mean, this is not about what it's about. This is about saving lives, and somebody standing up and saying, listen, we dropped the ball, we failed. Pointing fingers and playing the blame game is not going to help any one of us moving forward. Does the fire officer, do they have the equipment? Do they have the necessary protective gear? Do they have the resources? Do they have working fire tenders? And the list goes on and on. And if you could check that off the list and say, okay, I mean, you saw one a video that has gone viral of a fire officer responding to wherever, and he falls out of the vehicle. And that's a joke. No, that's not a joke if somebody's life is somewhere being caught up in some tragic situation, and that's the people who are responding. We're going to take a few more before we make our way. Giving you time, of course. We have a little leniency this evening. Again, 225-9790. And if you want to make a WhatsApp call, 494-0938. The blame game is not the way. The government is saying one thing. The Fire Association is saying something else. They're refuting, they're battling. But moving forward, where do we go? And that is the key thing here. And I think that is something we have to look at. Also, what was said by Attorney at Law Jagdeo Singh with the bracelet situation to help reduce crime. That to me really and truly says a lot. Well, folks, I guess we are out there. That brings us to the end of our program. Until tomorrow, God willing, we are going to be right back here with two very special interviews as always. And we're going to be back again for a special show on New Year's Eve. Again, please be safe. And as always, we're observing. But the action has started, and it has started because we're starting to ask the questions. Can the government protect us? As citizens, we want to know. I mean, it's one thing to be attacking our pocket and attacking whatever finances we may have and saying, listen, we're going to make your life better. We're going to squeeze you for more money. We need taxes for this, whether it be property tax or whatever. We are tax-paying people. I mean, but the issue is that, are we getting value for the money? Is it that it's only engulfed in incompetence and people who simply do not want to make our interests a priority? We're asking the right questions. So action has started. Have a good one. Until tomorrow, be safe.